Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Judiciary defends barring of media in Silvera murder case. Press Association responds. Utech staff takes industrial action over new compensation package. And later in sports, Shamar Joseph signs franchise deal after heroics in second test. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Simpson. Here are the details. The Press Association of Jamaica, PAJ, is calling for a repeal of Section 13(1) of the Gun Court Act following the judiciary defending the barring of the media in the Silvera murder case. In a statement released a short while ago, the PAJ says the use of the legislation is inconsistent with the Constitution of Jamaica. Last week, the judge presiding over the case, where former politician Julian Silvera is charged with the murder of his wife, barred the media from covering the court proceedings. The judge said, quote, "One has to exercise discretion in each case." The PAJ, however, argues that the reason for barring must be justified, and none has been forthcoming. The judiciary states that it serves the right to revoke Section 13(1) of the Gun Court Act. Meanwhile, the Bar Association of Jamaica, on the other hand, says the independence of our judiciary is of paramount importance. However, it says it is open to a debate about the controversial clause in the act. The Nurses Association of Jamaica, NAJ, says nurse migration is becoming more problematic for the association. President Dawn Marie Richards says they are now in dialogue with the Ministry of Health about recruitment and retention strategies in trying to address the issue. Shamila Pullen reports.
The last time the Nurses Association of Jamaica met with the Ministry of Health to discuss nurse migration was in December last year. The main objective of that meeting was to discuss recruitment and retention strategies for the island's nurses who have been taking up jobs overseas. But while that continues to happen, the concern is now recruitment. President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, Dawn Marie Richards, says they have been getting complaints about persons graduating from nursing school who are now without jobs. She says the discussion now focuses on recruiting these persons.
Some of it is related to with their registration. Some might have had other issues because you graduate from nursing school, but there's a nursing council exam that you have to do to register you as a registered nurse. So we have some little hitches there which we are working on. But for us, we believe that there are other persons out there who can be recruited locally for training. So training is big on our agenda.
Ms. Richards says the aim is to get more persons trained locally. She says the NAJ has engaged the Ministry of Health in using this as a strategy for recruitment.
As an association, we have identified that there are persons even within our working systems who would want to be registered nurses, who would want the opportunity to train to be a registered nurse. So we are engaging government at this time to see how they can help us in assisting those persons. We believe that while we are filling the gaps with persons who are coming from overseas, we believe that we have persons here and we can find a pool of persons here.
The NAJ president says this could result in locally trained nurses staying in the country for at least 5 years.
For even 5 years, give us some time. I remember for myself as a registered nurse when I was trained, we were bonded for 5 years. There were persons who felt, man, 5 years, that's long. It's not. By you shut your eye 5 years, finish and you do a post basic and you do something else and you don't bother leave. So it could be you train 5, 3 will stay. We look at it that way. So that is an approach that we have asked government to look at for us.
Shamila Pullen, TVJ News.
The Ministry of Health has reported an increase in dengue cases in Jamaica. But one public health specialist and family physician, Dr. Orville Nemard, says the situation is different in his private practice. Dr. Nemard says he has seen a decline in cases when compared with late last year.
In my own practice, I'm not seeing as much dengue as, say, the latter quarter, the last quarter of 2023. I'm not sure if this represents a true decrease or just a demographic profile in terms of the difference with the practice population. But whereas it may not be as common in my practice, the reality is that dengue is still out there, and we still need to take the necessary precautions to protect the vulnerable populations, which are the extremes of life. The 5 to 14-year-old group is the one which has shown itself to have the highest incidence of dengue. Dengue fever is spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is commonly known to be a domestic mosquito, meaning it tends to live and breed in and around the home. So many of the breeding sites which result in the mosquito are within our home.
Academic and administrative staff at the University of Technology Utech staged a silent protest this morning to highlight their displeasure with the compensation package being offered by the Ministry of Finance. They say the salary scales received from the government failed to align with the qualifications and job responsibilities of all categories of staff. They also want the parity issue for the administrative staff outstanding since 2017 settled. The unions know that the silent protest is not a strike but a call for meaningful dialogue with the government. Now, scheduled classes will not be affected. Environment Minister Matthew Samuda says the government is working to increase beach access for more Jamaicans. Mr. Samuda was speaking during a recent tour of government facilities and projects underway in Northeast St. Anne.
The Prime Minister intends to carry to Parliament very soon the new beach access policy, which will guarantee access to the country's beaches. Now, everything has to be done under structure, with order. Ultimately, there are other beaches within this community which will be restored and renovated for free access also.
The joint-up approach in governance that the government of Prime Minister Andrew Holness have been working on since 2016. The UDC, which falls in the office of the Prime Minister, and all the other entities, the municipal corporations, are going to be working and have been working to ensure that facilities such as this, and there are other facilities in the parish that falls under the direct control of local government through the municipal corporation, that will be upgraded, as Minister Samuda said.
We will be watching you. That's the warning to Justices of the Peace in St. James from Custos Bishop Conrad Pitkin. Now, as O'Shane Masters reports, Justices of the Peace will be under greater scrutiny as citizens continue to complain about the lack of service in getting documents verified.
It won't be business as usual. That's according to Custos of St. James, Bishop Conrad Pitkin. His comment comes as Jamaicans continue to complain about challenges in getting Justices of the Peace to verify documents. Speaking at the commissioning of new Justices of the Peace in the parish recently, Bishop Pitkin says the days of inactive JPs have come to an end.
Right now, persons are still on what I am going to call long honeymoon because of COVID, but you see after this, when I look at your form and you don't do anything for the year, you have to come tell me why. Is that they are sick and you went abroad for 10 months? So why wasn't I told that you're going abroad? You'll have to answer that too.
The Custos says JPs must be held accountable as they have sworn or affirmed to serve the residents of the country. He recounted one incident in which he had to intervene on behalf of a citizen.
I am embarrassed sometimes when people tell me how the JP behave when they go to them. Lord, Miss Man, no time right now. Me work from 1 o'clock, me finish work. So guess what I did one day, Minister? I went to business place where I told that there was a sign that states how long she work, and I just tear it off the door. And to fold it up and throw it in the garbage.
As for those individuals who change their numbers and only give work addresses when becoming a JP, this warning from the Custos.
But you see in St. James, you have to give us both numbers. And if you change it, we will know, we'll find you. And sooner or later, we'll look at your report.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. We are coming to reclaim the Manchester Municipal Corporation. That assertion from President of the People's National Party, Mark Golding, to party supporters in the parish. The corporation is currently held by the PNP, but with a few party switches last year, concerns abound. Even more concerning for party supporters is that the councillor for the Royal Flat Division and chairman of the corporation will be running as the MP candidate in central Manchester.
I don't like hear when them say, we win already. We no win already. We are going to win. We are going to win. Because we're serious, and we're prepared, and we're committed, and we're determined, and we are going to do it. And each and every one have to make sure that we take this local government election very, very seriously. Because it is going to send a signal to the whole of Jamaica.
And looking to the general elections, Mr. Golding believes his party stands a good chance in taking a clean sweep in Manchester.
And when we see the slate for the constituency candidates, and we put it up against what is there on the green side, it's chalk to cheese. And worse now, man, a yard, I go have to stay in my yard.
He was speaking at the presentation of candidates for the local and general elections in Hatfield, Manchester on Sunday. Nearly a week after some residents of Claremont St. Mary were trapped in their homes due to a downed power line, the situation has been resolved. Dorothy Russell of Simmons Drive explained she was unable to leave home because of a live GPS power line blocked her driveway.
I'm afraid of coming over these wires because I have a grandchild in the yard too. I have to take her to school and take her back from school. And I'm fearful that it might, hurt us that's coming out of it.
Public Relations Manager at the JPS, Audrey Williams, said the matter was handled with urgency after being brought to its attention.
JPS received the report on Monday, January 22 and responded on the same night, but teams incorrectly associated this report with a different one. We received the report a second time on Tuesday, January 23, and a team arrived on Wednesday at 10 p.m., isolated the transformer to make the location safe, and referred the matter for further attention and repairs, which were completed with the removal of wires on Thursday night. Other wires remained, which belonged to the telecommunications provider. The telecoms team subsequently arrived to address the matter with their wires as well. And we have also reached out to the customer to explain what happened and to really apologize for the delay. This is something that we are taking very seriously as we continue to improve our internal processes.
It's time now for the Business Minute.
The Fosterage Group of Companies says it remains aggressive for the calendar year 2024. The latest Business Consumer Confidence Report had revealed that the majority of businesses were cautious about expansions and investments heading into the year. The Business Minute caught up with Managing Director of Fosterage, Cecil Foster, recently.
We have a pretty aggressive target for 2024. We also have acquisition on the cards and expansion on the cards. As you know, one of the big things that will happen in the end of second quarter, so third quarter, is the opening of the 40,000 square feet of superstore on Mullines Road, and that will be,
Further afield, debt-laden Chinese property giant Evergrande has been ordered to liquidate by a court in Hong Kong. Judge Linda Chan said enough is enough after the troubled developer repeatedly failed to come up with a plan to restructure its debts. The firm has been the poster child of China's real estate crisis with more than $300 billion of debt. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Shane Masters.
Thank you, Shane. Time now for the top regional and international stories. In the region, St. Lucia is reporting new cases of leprosy after recording 11 cases last year. In a message marking World Leprosy Day on Sunday, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs stressed that leprosy is not an illness of the past, as it still affects millions of people around the world and scores of St. Lucians today. However, the ministry did not reveal the number of cases reported so far this year. On the international scene, Iran has denied its involvement in the drone attack which killed 3 U.S. troops and injured 34 on a U.S. base in Jordan near the Syria border. U.S. President Joe Biden said the attack had been carried out by Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq. President Biden has vowed that the U.S. will respond to the killings. And Israeli protesters blocked humanitarian aid trucks from entering the war-torn Gaza Strip. Hundreds gathered at the latest protest at the Kerem Shalom crossing, despite the army saying in a statement that it had declared the area a closed military zone. The demonstrators, some affiliated with relatives of hostages held in Gaza, have assembled there for days to protest aid going into the territory that UN officials say is on the brink of catastrophe. And those are the top regional and international stories. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports with Jordan Ford.